Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV and Radio, where wisdom meets experience. Join a dynamic lineup of thought leaders, professionals, and changemakers from around the world. Dr. Madeline Chan from the UK, Mariska Dupreya from Australia, Red O'Loughlin from Texas, USA, Carolyn HEWARD from the UK, Zunette Lub from Cape Town, South Africa, as they share expert insights, personal journeys, and impactful strategies for success. Talking Heads isn't just a show, it's a global stage for education, collaboration, and inspiration. So elevate your knowledge, expand your perspective, engage in conversations that matter. Streaming globally, empowering locally, this is Talking Heads, only on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hello, welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Our show today is Talking Heads. I'm Caroline HEWARD and I'm one of 5 expert presenters on Talking Heads for USA Global TV and Radio. I'm a TV presenter on the channel, and I'm also the resident therapist for USA Global TV and Radio, as well as the Harley Street Stress Expert. Our show today is a really interesting one and something that I am guilty of myself, and I'm sure many high achievers, because that's what we're looking at, high achievers, have a challenge with. And it's not that it's not incurable, it's sort of a nice challenge and a difficult challenge. It's high functioning anxiety, the silent killer of modern success. Your overachieving friend may be silently struggling. Do you see it? It's almost like they're a swan on the surface, that everything is graceful, everything looks amazing. And they are the go-to person because they do it well. They do it with what I would call bells, whistles, and ribbons on. They do it to a high level of achievement. And it looks graceful, it looks easy, and it looks unmistakably polished. But underneath that graceful swan gliding appearance is the pedals underneath. They are pedaling like crazy. They make it look easy. They make it look simple because they are working underneath really hard. A lot of preparation, a lot of time, a lot of consumption of, is this right? Do I do it this way? Do I do it that way? And we're going to get more into that as we go into this episode. This episode is part of the Mind and Body Connection series. Let's begin. High functioning anxiety is the hidden struggle behind success. High achievers tend to struggle in silence. Success isn't always what it seems. It impacts the person, you, I, the friend that you know that's the high achiever, personally, in their relationships. It affects society, and it also affects our coping strategies when things get difficult. In this episode, we're going to be uncovering the hidden side of achievement, the anxiety that thrives while we succeed. What is high functioning anxiety? It has many common signs, and you will see, as I've just demonstrated about that swan gracefully on the river, swimming, looking elegant, but underneath they're paddling like crazy. There's an overthinking going on. There is a perfectionism going on. Overthinking is an overanalyzing this way, that way. If I do this, if I don't do that, there will be a soap opera within their mind, and they are their worst critic. They will always look at, what did I do wrong? What could I do better? They will never critique looking at all the great stuff. They will always critique looking at what was missing. What can I do better? And they're always looking for that opportunity to show up and to be the person that stands out. Now, perfectionism, it's sometimes quite cute when somebody is a perfectionist. And I have worn that badge for many, many years, decades. And some people think it's quite cute. It is actually a silent killer. It stops you sometimes from doing things that perhaps you could have done much earlier and much easily if you weren't stopping yourself because it wasn't quite right. Perfectionism, it is the silent killer because we will question everything. We will question whether we're right to do it this way, to do it that way, what other people will think. Is this the best? They will constantly change things. They will constantly look at something and then reinvent the wheel, recreate, do something different, keep checking and changing it. I have a wonderful friend who's a musician, who's really talented, highly talented, and have been in the industry for many, many years, many decades, since the 70s. And he's on tour a lot, and he goes to the States, and he's UK based in London. And yet when he writes songs, and he's an amazing writer of songs, he will continually go back in and reinvent it, add more things to it, take things out, check in. And it's almost the creative perfectionist anxiety of wanting to get it perfect, that anything won't do. And I'm also guilty of that I will constantly review, and it's the reviewing that takes the time. And it's not wrong and it's not right. It is simply a behavior of the highly successful person, that they will constantly review and look to change things. Does it look better? How can I improve this? Because they're constantly looking for an improvement to get a different audience, a different take, a different level of praise. Why is this important? Because it's important to them. Being a perfectionist is an epidemic in its own right. There are many people that are perfectionists that do well and survive through that perfectionist struggle. It will take them longer to achieve something, and at the same time, it will be amazing. It'll be more than the average person, and at the same time, it will almost look as if it's easy. It rolls off the tongue. It just becomes great. But there's been a lot of work behind the scenes that you haven't seen. It can cause sleepless nights because you're thinking about, what next? I need to do this. And how do I make this better? I consistently spend time making sure that the technology is right, because that's one of my foibles as a perfectionist, and not feeling comfortable with technology, and yet I will work harder. And that's the behavior behind a perfectionism's talents, that they will work tirelessly to make things better. And they will always look to improve themselves in whatever activity they are doing, whether it's in a partnership, in a relationship, both personal, business, and in friendships. They're always looking to be the best they can possibly be. And at the same time, it has a huge detrimental effect to them personally. It is a hidden epidemic of high achievers. I did some mentoring with someone that was a shaman back in the times of the world closing down in the pandemic, and I did some online mentoring, energy mentoring with a shaman, and he was in the field for many years, many decades, and he trained with the shamans in the jungle. And I often wondered what made him go and drop everything, drop life, and go and train with what he considered were the best of the best. What was it that changed? That's not my story to share. But what I did get from him was he was fascinated by the fact that he tended to attract overachievers. The story that I shared with him, the story that I told, was a story of an overachiever, somebody who has a high level of ambition, achieves things, many awards, and at the same time, there is an undercurrent of something else that's not working for them. Many people don't see what's going on behind the facade or behind the ambition and behind the overachieving, because they're just seen as they've got it all in place. Everything is great. Everything is wonderful. And that's because the overachiever tends to be a people pleaser. They tend to want to be everything to everyone. I would describe myself when I was in my corporate days in marketing and PR as a people pleaser. I was all things to all people. And I toned the phrase, I felt like a chameleon. I was everything to everyone and not much or anything to myself. I was always doing my best to fit in to what other people required, and forgetting about myself. In corporate, it was important to be seen and to do the best that you could do so that you could be seen and rewarded promotional-wise, award-wise, and within your teams. It was an interesting time for me because when I left school, I didn't feel very confident. But then when I started my first career, I was good at what I did. And because I was good at it, I became an overachiever. And it was almost that I had to leave school to find these skills of being that overachiever. And once I found something I enjoyed, something I loved, it was easy to overachieve. It was easy to please others by my overachievement, and then to teach others, and then to show others the way. I was never a person to keep things to myself. And in my wise mum's words, she'd be whispering in my ear, don't tell everybody everything, because you'll make yourself unneeded. I didn't ever listen because I wanted everybody around me to be as good, to achieve, to do well, and to be the best that they could be with my mentoring and my coaching and my leadership. Coaching and mentoring weren't even words back then that I would have used when I was 19 and in my early 20s. It wasn't something that was a word that was considered as a thing. It was more management. And I felt that I was a good manager because I trained well. I trained easily, and I always thought about the person's needs, what was missing and what they needed. And that had a human element of looking and being everything for them rather than for myself. Can you hear that familiar story? Everything for the other person. My achievements were through my team. If my team achieved, I achieved. I always like to pass it on. And because I like to pass it on, they grew and they achieved. High achievers, are they okay? I don't think they are okay, but nobody notices. Nobody notices their restlessness of wanting to achieve, do things the best they possibly can. It takes energy, it takes stamina, it takes a lot out of the person personally, energetically, physically, and emotionally. They are living and yet dying inside. Let me say that again. They are living and yet quietly dying inside, because it's always about what looks good on the outside rather than what's going on the inside. Burnout, it looks like ambition. Yes. And back then, when I first started doing my management work, because I'd always been in management right from the early age of 19, when I first stepped into work, I'd been a qualified manager. And I can remember many times when I was so exhausted, I would just go home and fall asleep. And there wasn't any time for social. I did make some time, a couple of times a week, and I went dancing. But burnout was something that was very rife, and yet it wasn't an understood term. I feel in our current times, there is so much awareness, so much understanding, and so many labels that we didn't have when I first left school, so many misunderstandings of what things were rather than what they really are. And burnout, looking like ambition, is really high functioning anxiety. How can someone appear confident and successful and yet quietly struggling? It doesn't make sense, does it, that they are so successful? I have had many clients, they are my avatar. Who I used to be in corporate is my avatar of my client. They are usually very successful. They have the fame, the fortune, they have everything that gave them that high level of achievement and ability. They've got the awards, they are seen as the go-to person, and yet they are struggling inside. Whenever I say, it almost feels like everybody comes to you because you know the answers, you are the go-to person, and yet inside they are wondering, how can people see them that confident? And sometimes they might open up to someone that they feel safe with. And I say safe in inverted commas, safe, because it's not always safe for a high achiever to admit that they are quietly, silently struggling. And I have to say, took me a long time before I was ready to tell anybody that I was quietly struggling. I would just say yes. I wouldn't say no. Because every time I said yes, it would be another way I could prove to myself that I was good at what I did. I needed a constant stream of proving to myself. It was never really about others, but that external accolade and external praise and external recognition moved me into a place of, okay, then I did something well. It also stopped me and many other high achievers from reaching out and doing other things that perhaps other people, their mentors, their coaches, friends, family members have told them, why don't you do that? You'd be good at that. And then the overachiever will silently cogitate and silently, mentally go over and over, am I good enough? Can I do this? This is where the anxiety comes. It's the inner dialogue, the inner conversation, the conversation that says, am I good enough? Can I do this? And sharing with you a couple of very personal examples with you that it took me an entire year before I did a show with USA Global TV and Radio. And my mentor was tearing his hair out. He was going crazy. He was absolutely going crazy at me. And in the end, he lost his temper and said, just book in and do it. And he was so angry with me that I thought, oh my gosh, I need to get over myself. And one of my mentors, he had a saying, it's time to get out of the way of yourself. I never really understood that in those early noughties when I was training. Time to get out of the way of yourself and allow yourself to be your true self. And when I finally got that, and that's in recent years, I've only been here for 4.5 years. But that first show was testament to me that I could do it, that it was possible. And one of the things that the overachiever will do is constantly challenge themselves with all sorts of things that they haven't done to see if they can do it, only quietly, internally, not doing things that they don't feel that they can do. And one of my inner dialogues was, I'm great when it's one-to-one. I'm great when I speak on stage. I'm great when I speak to groups. I can't do live TV. This was the inner dialogue. And yet my mentor, he had watched me and guided me and mentored me through every single one of my on-stage talks. And he said, you are ready. I had to be pretty much told off before I achieved that status of going ahead and making the booking. Why am I sharing this with you? This will be the case of many overachievers. Many overachievers might not tackle something because of that trait of perfectionism. They want to get it 100% right. And because they don't feel that they can get it 100% right, they will hold back until they feel they can. And this is a challenge because many overachievers can. And I'm so glad I got pushed and kicked and almost threatened. You better do this and you better do this now. You have been put forward as a head of over 2,000 people. The person that runs the channel, Dr. Jacqueline, is expecting your booking. Do it. Those were the words. Do it. What are you waiting for? And when I did do it, I was invited to come back and be part of the expert coaching team. And the reason that I share this with you, this personal story, is because even 4.5 years ago when I started and joined this channel as a one-off interview, I didn't think I had enough to do live TV. And here I am 4.5 years later being one of the expert presenters. This story will be very common for many people that are high achievers. Unless they have a mentor like I had pushing you and cajoling you, because no man or woman is an island. We are all things to all people. And if other people see the greatness in you, you will be magnetized to them and they will almost give you a helping hand, a leg up, an opportunity to show you it's possible. It's really possible and I can introduce you. Take those opportunities rather than fear those opportunities, because that mental and emotional worry that you have may be completely unfounded. That self-doubt that you have will be completely unfounded, because that inner dialogue, feeling never enough feelings, is something that is human. It is something that affects all of us at some time. We're human. We're here to learn. We are here to grow, and we are here to make mistakes. We can't always get it right. We can't always be the best for everything and everyone. And in those mistakes that we make, we can grow even more. When I've made a mistake, I don't make it again. When I've done something wrong, I will always admit the mistake, because to admit the mistake is growth. It becomes wisdom, and it becomes a lesson that you grow from. There is constant growth if you're open to receive it. The physical symptoms of somebody that is a high achiever is fatigue. I'm sure that just by the very nature, I've spent 25 minutes giving you what goes on with a high achiever. I'm sure that you're probably tired in listening, and there is fatigue. And they're overthinking and overanalyzing and overly wanting to get it right, because there is a perfectionism trait within this overachieving, ambitious person. There will be headaches. Headaches because their overthinking literally makes the head ache with thoughts. And the head aches is to give you, it's almost like a warning sign. It's your body saying, stop, time out. And if the headache isn't listened to, they become a migraine. And then when people get migraines, they have to take time out. The overachiever, they will have things that happen to them that make them take time out. What's yours? What is the thing that makes you stop? Is it a migraine? Is it a headache? Is it a cold? Is it a cough? Is it a physical pain? Or is something going on in your personal life? There will be sleep disruption, because the overthinking will make the person find sleep difficult. There's no off switch for the mind. One of the things that I have gratefully embraced is meditation, because meditation is my off switch. And it's something that I teach people, because the overachievers constantly are on the go. Even if it's not physically doing something, it's mentally and emotionally. And also digestive issues come into play with a lot of high achievers. And one of the reasons for that is that the mind is almost disconnected with the body. There is a focus on the body, but the energy that the person gives is mainly in the mind. There will almost be an intensity of thinking and doing, and a disconnect with the body. And one of the things that I would highly recommend, if you feel like that, is go for a jog, do some dancing, go to the gym, because this moves the energy from your mind to your body and starts to reinvigorate and generate energy into the body. So why do we hide anxiety behind smiles and achievements? It's because there is a facade. There is something that we're playing out. I would call it a mask. We want to look good and be good. And it's all about image. And especially in our current times, we really want to show up the best that we can possibly be, for ourselves, for others, in our personal lives, for our family, but to the detriment of our personal lives. How are we really living? Many of my clients, I describe this experience of we're existing. We're going through the motions without the emotion. We are doing things without being in a place of feeling things. So there is a lot achieved. I would always write an annual newsletter, and I still do write an annual newsletter. And for many, many years, and what it did was it brought me into a place of reflection of all the positive things that I'd achieved. And some of the comments that I had from some of my friends that I had known for many years is that they felt tired. They felt exhausted reading my newsletter. And I had to curtail the things that I put in it, because there were so many things. And I didn't really understand what they meant, that they were exhausted through reading. all the things that I got involved in, all the activities and all the events and the parties and the dinners and the awards and the expectation of what was to come, they were exhausted and never really understood why they were exhausted. This felt like life. This was life. This was how it was for me. And quietly, slowly, over the years, I have mellowed, quietly, slowly. And because of personal things that have happened, I've gone far more into meditation. And I realize I don't need 20 awards in a year. I don't need to go after everything that is possible. And I still like the recognition. Isn't that strange? Isn't that interesting? That to have the recognition, to know that we've done a good job, where does that come from? It's part of our blueprint, part of our childhood, part of what makes the overachiever be the overachiever. And we all have our personal stories. We all have something that happened in our childhood that moved us into this place of being better, being the best that we could possibly be. It wasn't a bad trait to have. For me, that overachieving meant that I got lots of accolades and I always did well. And still, in the ripe old age of in my 60s, I am still achieving. One of the things that I wanted to do was leave a legacy. And it's interesting, when your goal is big enough, call it a hairy goal. Is it big enough? Is it ugly enough? Is it bigger than you? When your goal is bigger than you, all sorts of opportunities can come your way. And one of the things that I wanted to do was play my part in creating world peace. And suddenly, in 2016, when I started to announce that and tell people, tell friends, some friends left my space, some friends made judgments, and other people came into my space. And I started speaking on stage. I had another mentor that had known me for many years say, it's time for you to speak on stage. And so mentors have been very strong in my life. They've been very much part of my life in terms of I've been around people that have recognized things in me that I haven't quite seen at that time, at that crucial time, that I could achieve those things. And having mentors, and if you haven't got one, and I remember going to many, many trainings over many decades and people talking about their mentors, and I wondered what this thing was. What's a mentor? And I thought that it was something that you only got when you were famous and you'd done it and you'd become very good at what you did, and I didn't think I'd ever get there. But mentors come into your life for a reason, something that you want to achieve. Your circle starts to change as you change what your thoughts are in terms of what you want to achieve. And I never would have believed it possible that I could have been surrounded by such amazing mentors. 20 years ago, I couldn't believe and couldn't wish or write or imagine or envision the kind of mentors that I have around me today, the kind of people that are around me and that look after what my needs are for my ambition. I wanted to leave a legacy. And here I have been invited to a platform by the amazing, wonderful, talented, visionary Dr. Jacqueline. The visionary, her vision of creating this platform created the drive for her to find people like me to come and give content, share what they need to share. I couldn't have done this on my own. I didn't have the technology. I didn't have the knowledge. And sometimes it's about partnering and building on what somebody else has. I don't have the technology like the platform, and other people have. I didn't have the knowledge of how to set up a studio, and Dr. Jacqueline showed me how. This is where I avoided being behind a green screen. because I didn't know how. And when somebody sees something in you that you don't see in you, that's usually a mentor, not a coach. It's a mentor, somebody that can guide you, facilitate you, and move you into a place that you can be the greatest possible you. I never would have believed I would have been doing live TV, but here I am in my home studio with the lights, my laptop, and a green screen, and the graphics looking right. That is teamwork. I couldn't have done this on my own. This is great mentorship. This is having a team behind you. You can't do it all alone. The overachiever will have challenges in relationships, both personal and professional, because they will overcommit. And sometimes there is a challenge in delivering because there's a difficulty in saying no. The workplace impact can create stress, burnout, and misunderstandings. Can high achievers functioning anxiety sabotage success and relationships without realizing it? Yes, they can, because they want and demand the best, just like they demand that of themselves. They demand the best and require the best of everything and everyone around them. And when it doesn't quite work, when there's something that's not quite right, there is an over-analysis. I would call it a post-mortem. What did I do wrong? Did I say something that wasn't right? Have I offended the person? How can I make this right? There will be a feeling, a sensitive feeling, an emotional feeling in the gut. How can I make this right? There will be judgments that we might take personally, which was nothing to do with us. It was something to do with that other person in their world. It's not our story. Our story is how we react, how we respond. It's so easy to think, especially being an overachiever, that it's something that we did wrong. It's something that I didn't achieve in the right way. I've offended someone. Please listen to this. It's not always about you. Your reaction is yours, and that is coming from something that's deep inside you, and it comes up as a repeating pattern. It comes up in something that, because you don't know, and it's something that's unresolved, something that comes up because it has an unresolved issue way back in your childhood. We have cultural and society factors, the glorification of the hustle, the constant achievement, the role of social media and the peer pressure that's placed upon us, and the global and cultural changes. Are we rewarding anxiety because it produces results? In modern success, the culture that's fueling this hidden epidemic, are we normalizing anxiety as a badge of honor and ambition? Coping strategies. There are many practical ways to cope with this high level of achievement, this high anxiety. Mindfulness. That was something that when I heard the term mindfulness, I used to think, hey, my mind is full already. I don't need any more mindfulness. It's already full. And that was my tag on it until I started to learn some mindfulness practices. It's a great leveler, and it brings you way out of the mind and reconnects you back to your heart and reconnects you back to your senses. Meditation, you don't have to sit cross-legged. Meditation is literally being present in whatever you are doing. And that's a meditation. You don't have to and sit cross-legged and have your time away from everything and everyone. And meditation is being fully present in whatever you are doing. if you're in a conversation with somebody on a call, be with them 100%. Do not do something else. Give them 100% of your attention and have that as an intention that you are going to be everything to that person in that moment. And when you do that, you will be surprised how much you get back from that experience. Because when you give that to the other person, it gives you something incredibly amazing. It moves you into a place of inner calm and inner peacefulness. We are too quick to want to get what we want to say. Don't be quick. Allow the other person what they need to say and allow yourself to reflect. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Sometimes it's some wisdom that you can hear without needing to say or one-up what they are sharing with you. Set professional and personal boundaries and have professional support around you. And it doesn't all have to come from a company that you work for. It can come in all guises. Sleep is important. Make sure you have the right amount of sleep. And if you don't sleep at night, make sure you sleep in. Make sure that you take that time to sleep in. If you do a meditation, 1 hour of meditation can equate to 4 hours of sleep. It can energize you and reinvent your experience of wakefulness and alertness. And you will thank your body for that. Nutrition and exercise. It's important. What we put into our mouths is really important. If we are living in a place of healthy eating, we will feel better for it. I've been out for restaurant meals and have had heavy meals that are very sauced, and I really feel it in my stomach because I eat in a very light way. And when I eat in a heavy way, my stomach hurts, and that's because I don't usually eat junk food. And that's a challenge in today's society, the amount of junk food, quick food, food that's eaten on the run. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it has its detrimental effect if we eat too much of it. Thank you for listening. This has been an experience for me to share because I've been very personally sharing some of the attributes of somebody who is a high achiever. Be in awareness, have reflection. In awareness, you can make change. High functioning anxiety may be silent, but it doesn't have to control your life. Recognize it, understand it, take action and protect your health, your relationships, and your personal success. Thank you for listening. Please do subscribe to USA Global TV and Radio, where you will find all of the episodes on all the Talking Heads episodes under the playlist Talking Heads. Please do look out for my other episodes under my name, Caroline HEWARD. I've been doing these episodes now for probably about 4 years, I think. This channel is the awarded, coveted channel of the Silver Creator Award with over 100,000 subscribers. And we owe that to the amazing and visionary Dr. Jacqueline. I believe that we are now, I think, over 107,000 subscribers. We have 2 channels. Please do check in and subscribe to our 2 channels. It's been my pleasure to give you this episode. It's not about thinking that anything's wrong. In awareness, we can then change things. You can reach me on No More Stress at live.co.uk or call me if you're international +44 0 if you're local 7523 120 189. Follow me on social media and connect with me. Drop me a message on my LinkedIn platform or Facebook. I do have some episodes and some posts on Instagram. So please do seek me out there. Thank you very much, and I look forward to catching up with you again next month, always usually on the last Thursday of the month. Bye-bye for now, and thank you for listening. You have it, you've got it, because you are now in awareness. Namaste.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to tracycramperkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.